here's my attempt at trying to draw RoboCop as a horror villain, and it took 7 attempts to get it to a reasonable stage where I could actually present it. What you see before you is the very first one that I was trying to figure out his pose. And basically, I'm trying to warm up into the drawing. I'm trying to understand around. I'm trying to wrap my mind around that concept. It's RoboCop, but he's also a horror villain. Yeah, he's gonna be a scary guy. So how do I capture that? What type of pose am I gonna be using? How is he gonna look visually? So this is me just trying to figure that out. Now I'm on to the second attempt because the very first one obviously did not work out, and that's normal. Alright, so here's my second attempt at that. Same thing, I'm trying to start with figuring out his pose. I'm obviously using the very first drawing as my reference point now because it's an investment that I've made already. I might as well look at it and try to take whatever works from that one onto the next drawing. So here you can see the pose is similar to the first one, except I'm trying to work out his legs. How is he gonna stand? And so far he still looks too much like a normal RoboCop, just standing around, you know, doing what cops do, I guess. And I'm also laying in some black and whites so that I can create a contrast. Anyway, moving on. Now, this is the third attempt, and what I'm doing is I'm actually tracing. Basically, I put a sheet.
What did he say?
Drawing the previous drawing underneath, and I put a sheet on top. And the reason I do that is so that I could take some of the drawings that I like, or I think that it works, and actually trace it over, basically create an outline, as you can see. That way I could use it as my starting base instead of looking at it and trying to basically copy it exactly the way it drew it. It just, okay, what I'm trying to say is it just doesn't make sense to do that, so it makes sense to just trace it. It's just like how animators would have a light table and they would trace over their work, and that way they could see the previous investment they've already made, so they could transfer that information onto the next. This is the third attempt. Now he is looking more like RoboCop, at least I think he does. His pose still looks too much like a normal human being, too much like a real robot. I completely changed his pose. This is the fourth attempt, and he is starting to lean in forward. He's starting to look more what you see in, you know, zombie films. He doesn't look normal anymore. Like just the way he's walking, just the way he is posing, starting to head in the right direction, at least that. From what I'm looking at. So basically I exposed his helmet a bit. I added some kind of like a fungus just growing out of his brain, flesh sticking out of his armor, and I added a bit of a red and orange highlight through where where his vision is located, where his eyes are located. I find it helps just to punch out the design, like make it stand out. So this is the attempt that I've so far achieved, and I think it's definitely heading in the right direction. It's not exactly there, but it's definitely heading in the right direction. And once I get tired of working on the pose, I obviously start working on his armor, because you can only work on the pose for so long before, whether it works or not, when you've invested so much time in trying to make it work and it still doesn't work, you might as well work on the next stage. So for me, he's supposed to be a horror type character, so let's figure out how we can display that. I want him to have his classical armor, the original RoboCop armor. So how is he gonna wear it based on this pose that I've chosen? So I chose to take on those challenges. So this is my next attempt, and the pose, I feel the more I'm doing these, the closer it's getting, and it works. Like this process works when you draw something over and over and over. It's just not easy, because after drawing it several times, you start getting a bit discouraged. You just don't want to do it anymore. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you actually persist and continue experimenting, you will eventually come out with a drawing, or a design, I should say, that's at least decent. At least it's something you could, be content with, or maybe you're going to be very happy with it. And here's the next attempt. I like this pose. He actually looks like some kind of a post-apocalyptic, some kind of a zombie-looking character here. I think the pose is working. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but it's good enough. So I'm working again on putting his armor on. I'm exposing his armor. I'm showing all the the fungus, whatever that's growing out of his flesh. I like that pose. He obviously looks like something's wrong with this RoboCop. You don't want to be near him. You want to come close to him when he is around. And if I saw a normal zombie and then I saw a RoboCop zombie, I definitely don't want to be near the RoboCop zombie because he has his RoboCop instincts and he might actually pick up, use that weapon against me, not only just attack. Here showing all the attempts that I've done. That was the first one. This is the second one. The pose, it's good, but it didn't match what I was. Whoa, that one just flew by. It didn't match the goal I had in mind, which is RoboCop that's converted into a horror villain type of character, something post-apocalyptic, some type of a zombie creature. So here's the next one. This one is getting a bit closer. My hand is all over the place re-explaining it. This one, obviously, you can see it's definitely heading in the right direction, but it's still not there. It's still not there. So this is the final one. I like the pose. I like the way he's holding his gun. I like that little red and orangish color where his eyes are located. I like how his brain is exposed and it's showing that fungus growing, flesh hanging out of his armor. Yeah, that's it. This is my RoboCop horror villain character. Share your thoughts in the comments section. And if you want to see more content related to what I've been producing on my channel, then definitely consider subscribing, and I will see you on the next one.